Good evening, Huddle. Okay, I like that. Happy Monday, y'all. It's nice outside. We started a new week. Y'all know last week was convention. Thank you to everybody that came. Shout out to y'all. But y'all know we always gonna start off the Monday right with an opening prayer and scripture from Miss Jackson. Clap it up for her, y'all. Good evening, everyone. Our prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven. Father, we bow to give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. Father, you said in everything give thanks. And we thank you, Father, for everything. Thank you for Reverend Al Sharpton, dear Lord, and all the work that he do in the earth. Please bless him, dear Lord. Bless him in a special way, dear Lord. We ask you to keep him while he's on his journey. Bless the children that have returned to school and college. Father, you said train up a child in the way that he should go. And when he is old, he won't depart from it. Father in heaven, we ask you, show us your way and teach us your path. Father, we ask you to please protect all the people that are ill and mentally ill. Please protect them, dear Lord. Father, look in the jail and the prisons. Father, you said, visit you when you're in jail and in prison. So God, send your blessings to jail and bless those. Bless those that are bound in prison, dear Lord. Let them know that they are not left alone, that your blessings flow all the way to the jailhouse. Father in heaven, please bless the children that are affected by guns. Lord, Satan is all over the land. You said whatever you bind in earth, you are binded in heaven. Father, please blind all the wicked way that the devil have set for your children. We ask you, please bind this gun violence. It have plagued the land. But Father, you have all power. And we ask you to bind all this violence that's lurking and plaguing the earth, dear God. Father in heaven, those who hate, we ask you to stop the hate and replace it with love, dear Lord. Because you said, love thy neighbor as thyself. So Father, please send us your love and show us how to love one another and let that love spread throughout the earth. Father, please bless all your children that have been affected by gun violence, by hate, by crime. God, let them know that you are there. You're right by their side. They're not left alone. Father, please bless the Nan. Bless Reverend Al and his children. Bless the Nan family. Father in heaven, we thank you for everything you did at the convention. We saw your hand and we saw your work, and we say thank you.
Thank you, Lord.
God, please let your work continue to go forth in the earth, and we ask you to open your windows and doors of heaven and pour your blessings out on your children so that they can walk safely in the earth. Protect them all, dear Lord, and we thank you for everything you do for us in the earth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Our scripture reads, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you." These are the words of the Lord, and you will find these words in the book of Jeremiah in the 29th chapter, the 11th and the 12th verse. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. So next, we have the Black History Fact of the Day from our very own Alyssa Snipe. Clap it up for her, y'all.
Good evening, Huddle. This day in Black history, April 17th, 1990. In nearly all the photos of Martin Luther King Jr. participating in marches, there was one figure who was constantly by his side, Ralph Abernathy. After King's assassination in 1968, Abernathy took on the leadership of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and led the march on Washington that had been planned for May of the year. Born in Linden, Alabama, Abernathy graduated from Alabama State University, where he served as student body president and class president. He also worked there as dean of men and as a professor of social studies and mathematics. In 1952, he became the pastor of the First Baptist Church in Montgomery. He also became the first black man to host a radio show in that city. In 1955, he and his close friend Martin Luther King organized the Montgomery bus boycott, which lasted 381 days and challenged segregation on buses. For years, he was King's best friend. The two were inseparable and often shared the same hotel rooms and jail cells, and they spent considerable time together with each other's families. After years of leading the civil rights group and immersing himself in politics, he ran unsuccessfully for Congress. He published an autobiography, and the walls became tumbling down, detailing his friendship with King. Abernathy died in 1990 at age 64.
Thank you, Alyssa. So for our Huddle Artivism segment, I would like to present to you Daniel, our very own. Clap it up for Daniel, y'all.
Thank you, Giselle. What a wonderful introduction. Salutations, Names Youth Huddle. I would like to introduce Linnell Richard at this very present moment in time so that she can come and introduce herself and the group. She has so much talent. I'm glad that she is here with the young people that are prepared to perform. I hope that you all will enjoy their performance. Linnell, please take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Grace and peace be unto you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ, who is our Savior. I'm here tonight because, and it's ironic. The name of the girls' presentation is called Stop the Violence, but for the young boy who was shot twice, at the age of 16, he came home today. I believe his name is Ralph. He was shot twice going to pick up his younger brothers or sisters or his siblings, and he went to the wrong house, and no one is facing any prosecution for it. Excuse me? You know, I despise the times that we're living in. You know, I feel like things can be much better, but it starts with us coming together like this, unifying as a unit, coming together as a unit, unified, and going out and doing something about it. You know, because like we say all of the time, it may seem like it's a cliche, but it's not. No justice, no peace. So on that note, I present to you the girls with their presentation of Stop the Violence. Thank you. We need to call this mic. Come on, girls. Move around.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. There's a place that much brighter than tomorrow. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make it a better place for you and for me. The world we live in, save it for our children. Heal the world we live in, save it for our children. Heal the world we live in, save it for our children. Heal the world we live in, save it for our children. Stop the violence.
Wasn't that swell? Wasn't that swell? Amen. Very well. All right, moving right along from our Artivism segment, I'm going to hand the mic over to my colleague, Giselle.
Thank you, Dan and Lunel. I really enjoyed that. So now we have our very own Miss Kaylee coming to talk about our membership and text alerts. Clap it up for her, y'all.
Is everybody an updated member for the year of 2023? Have you renewed your membership? If not, this applies to you as well as those who are not members. The best way to stay informed in the action is to become a member of NAN. Stay informed about NAN events, where you live, followed by your state. Text justice, followed by your state, to 59769. Again, 59769. To join the Saturday Action Rally, join us at the Saturday Action Rally at 9 a.m. every Saturday.
Thank you, Kaylee. So now I would like to call up, before I open the floor up to anybody else's good news, I would like to present Dan once again for our good news article.
Thank you, thank you. Our good news article this evening is Black Girls Magic. Trinity Thomas ties record for most perfect 10 scores at 2023 NCAA Gymnastics Finals for this year. Amen. Trinity Thomas reached a career high achievement when she tied for the most perfect 10s scored in NCAA history during the year 2023 NCAA Gymnastics Finals on April 15th. After sustaining injuries, the Florida Gators gymnastics star returned to compete in the semifinals. She earned her 28th perfect 10 on the vault during Saturday's meet, tying her along with Jamie Dinster and Jenny Hansen. According to Inside Gym, when asked how she managed to fight the pressure of the historic feat, Thomas told, "I was just focused on being here one last time with my team. They mean the world to me, and we left it all out here on the floor. And I could not be more proud of us," Thomas said, fighting back tears. After she finished her routine for the finals, her teammates cheered her on, yelling "GOAT" from the crowd. After she finished her routine, oh, pardon me, I just read that. Moving forward, the article goes on to reveal, "I couldn't have done it myself. I can't do anything myself. The Lord, my friends, and my family have all helped me along the way," the dynamic gymnast added. Looking back on her career, Thomas smiled while reflecting on her journey. In April, year 2022, she graduated from the University of Florida with a bachelor's degree in applied physiology and kinesiology, fitness, wellness. That summer, she began pursuing her master's degree in health education. The 5th year has been a blessing. I'm going to miss gymnastics so much. I couldn't be more thankful, she said. Despite healing from an injury, as a graduate, Thomas showed no signs of slowing down her accolades. She earned SEC Academic Honor Roll and became the only gymnast in NCAA history with at least 4 10s on each apparatus for her 4th career gym slam. Florida Gators, while the championship gymnast took home a career milestone, Oklahoma took their 6th NCAA championship title. And that's the good news.
All right, y'all, for Rhoda's time, before I open the floor up to good news, I would like to call up Miss Dominique Sharpton. Clap it up for her.
Good evening, you guys. I'm actually going to start the good news segment off tonight. I'm going to introduce one of our youth leaders. She's here visiting us. She was here for the convention. I want to bring Sister Jalen up. Jalen is a student at Howard University in Washington, D.C., and she is also the leader of our Washington, D.C. Youth and College Division of National Action Network, and they operate out of Howard University. So I wanted her to take a moment to just say hello to all of you and tell you some of the things that Howard students are doing in the name of National Action Network's mission in Washington, D.C. Welcome, Jalen.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing great tonight. As Ms. Sharpton mentioned, my name is Jalen Davis, and I'm a student at Howard University. So this past semester, as she mentioned again, I did start the Howard University National Action Network chapter, and so I've been getting to do a lot of grassroots organizing and just starting the work to do hands-on work throughout HBCUs, specifically Howard. We're big on civil rights advocacy. We're big on having a hands-on approach throughout the city especially. So I'm really excited to see the work that this group of students does. Everybody's very excited to get to work. Howard, the only civil rights organization we have now is the NAACP. So we're so excited that this is here and really excited to get to work.
Thank you so much. Now, she wanted to stop by and talk to us. She does have a train to get back because she has to go back to school, so we want to wish her safe travels. If you see her dip out, it's because she has to catch a train to get back to D.C., but we thank her for being here with Huddle, and we know that we're looking forward to working very closely with our chapters that are operated outside of our universities through our Youth and College Division, and certainly look forward to the great work that Jalen and so many others are doing across the country. So thank you so much for sharing with us. How many people attended National Action Network's convention this past week? Ooh. I have to say, I know that we're all pretty exhausted, but we are so energized, right, and excited to get to work because we had such an informative, impactful, and amazing 4-day convention. For those of you who joined us, like I said, it was 4 days of action-packed, nonstop action from the beginning to the end. We kicked off on Wednesday. I will get to that. But we kicked off on Wednesday with our ribbon cutting ceremony, and we were joined by the minority whip leader, of course, Chuck Schumer, one of the highest ranking Senate leaders in the world, in the country, and we were so honored that he joined us to cut the ribbon along with New York City Mayor Eric Adams, Speaker Adrian Adams, and so many others
who joined us to cut the ribbon. We were also joined by many of our chapters. We have over 120 chapters across the United States, and many of our chapter leaders from all over the country came to town for the convention. I think this was probably one of the largest contingency of out-of-state chapters that we had at the convention, so we definitely want to applaud our chapters. I mean, they came from all over, from way far out west, all the way from New Jersey, and we definitely thank them for being there. We got to meet and interact with a lot of them, and it was just a great feeling to just be joined by the Nan family from across the country. So I don't know how you all felt, but I felt really, really good. And then on Wednesday, actress Kerry Washington had a very powerful discussion with Reverend Sharpton on voting rights, and I think that it was a very good way to open up the convention, because voting rights is something that we are definitely all concerned about. It's one of the top priorities, I think, in terms of the issues and disparities that we're facing globally today. And I feel like it's something that we definitely want to continue to stay vocal on and in front of. National Action Network has been one of the leading organizations really fighting voter suppression laws and voter suppression things that are happening across the country. And so it was great to have this powerful discussion to kick off NAN's convention. And throughout the week, we had so many discussions and panels. We talked about healthcare, mental health, criminal justice reform, gun violence. We were joined by the mothers of the movement, many of the mothers and their families whose family members became victims of police brutality and police misconduct, and also just violence in general, such as Trayvon Martin, whom we all will definitely know and remember, because instances like this was very pivotal in our movement and pivotal to our fight. So we were excited to be joined by them, as well, telling us about various things and ways that they have stayed active and turned their pain into purpose. Many of them have started foundations, and many of them are doing excellent work in the community, and so we definitely applaud them and reached out to them. And then after that panel, after we heard from the mothers and families of the movement, and that was moderated by Reverend Sharpton, calls him the Attorney General of Civil Rights, Attorney Benjamin Crump, we actually had a press conference with the family of Tyre Nichols as they, or was it Arvo or Nichols? I think Tyre Nichols, as they had recently announced pivotal things that are happening in the case of Tyre Nichols in Tennessee. And so we were joined by the family of Tyre Nichols, and they were able to react to what is happening with their case right from the convention. So this is how powerful the convention and the convening of National Action Network's convention has become. And I'm telling you, we were joined by so many leaders. And then on Friday, of course, Vice President Kamala Harris joined us at that. Yeah, that deserves a round of applause. Yeah. Yep. And she came and spoke to us about a myriad of different things, talked about, of course, police misconduct, talked about the importance of public safety and the importance of how we're going to deal with gun control in America, something that's very, very important to us, and something that we, especially people of color, are dealing with in our own communities. And so it was great to hear from her, and really great to hear that, you know, she has vocally stated at National Action Network's convention her commitment to some of the things and some of the issues that we are holding her and the administration accountable for. And so it was good for her to actually verbiate that, I think, on our platform, and also, of course, talk about the brilliance and leadership and the astounding commitment that Reverend Sharpton and other civil rights leaders have had on making sure that these issues remain on the front lines and remain in front of those who can, of course, make the decisions to change them. So I think you should clap that up as well. And the leadership of Reverend Sharpton, I think, was shown throughout the week, as we had many different surprises. Brittany Griner came and made her first public appearance in New York. her first public appearance in New York since she was detained and released from Russia. She came to New York City and thanked Reverend Sharpton and Nan for standing for her and for really, really being committed to making sure that they did everything they could to make sure that she got home safely. So she came to the convention. Irvin Magic Johnson came and laid out a real plan, a financial plan, as he is about to go under a huge undertaking and taking a part of John F. Kennedy Airport. Many of you know that's a huge undertaking for especially a man of color. And so he came to thank National Action Network for the work that Reverend Sharpton and Nan has done to make sure that we are providing spaces for our Black businessmen and those that, you know, have the resources to really be in those decision-making rooms and in those positions to really bolster business and, of course, revenue for people like us, for people of color. It's great to see people of color in them high places. And so Reverend Sharpton and Nan has been advocates making sure that those avenues and those outlets are made possible. And then we, of course, not pivoted, but we continued. We had an amazing 2 nights of spiritual wellness and empowerment with our revival. On the first night, we were honored to have Pastor Keon Henderson of the Lighthouse Ministries from Houston, Texas, join us. And I think he delivered an amazing call to action through social justice and ministry, you know, at the revival that evening. And a lot of us don't really, you know, I mean, we got the nationalists who are activists, and then we have all different kinds of activists. But I think that when we all come together and we're unified, I think it's important for us to really tap into that spirituality that we really need to continue going. So whatever religion you practice, we were all empowered by the revival service, by the spiritual service that we had, and combining that with activism is really, really what it takes, I think, to really continue to move forward and to continue to have the stamina and be healthy mentally, spiritually, and physically to do this work. So we were really blessed to have them. Our Keepers of the Dream Awards, we were honored to have those of you who attended the gala, raise your hand. All right, that was my special program. And we honored Tyler Perry and Jane Rosenthal. We had the actor Rob De Niro there. It was so many amazing people who came together. To me, I think it was amazing to see the historic figure, the icon himself, Andrew Young, Ambassador Andrew Young, who was a pioneer of the civil rights movement, to actually be there physically with us and be honored, and for us to be able to give him his flowers while he can still smell them, I think was very, very important and monumental to us. And to have the family of George Floyd, I saw Terrence Floyd in the back earlier, but to have the family of George Floyd to help present the President's Humanitarian Award to Tyler Perry at the event was just amazing. These are moments that, you know, just happen throughout the convention's week. We ended on Saturday with an amazing youth day. Want to give it up, of course, to our youth leaders of the College and Youth Division, Felivi Dosa and Usman Diallo, along with Ashley Sharpton, who coordinated such an impactful and amazing day. We had the 50th anniversary of hip hop, such an important conversation. And as we talked about that, we also talked to young politicians, those who are really paving the way and entering a space for them to actually run as young people and to become a part of the decision-making process. And then on the flip side, we had a conversation on criminal justice reform. So those three, I think, go hand in hand. We had the young politicians conversation, the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and a conversation, of course, on criminal justice reform that was spearheaded by our Second Chance Committee, and Victor Pate did an outstanding job. And then we, of course, talked about the importance of education and taking Black history out of our schools, and we were joined by so many, it was amazing. It was just amazing. I can go on and go on and go on and go on and go on. I know y'all don't want to hear me talking, but those of you who enjoyed the convention, just give us a round of applause, a scream, a shout, a holla. And certainly want to always thank the staff and the volunteers. My God, the volunteers were off
the chain this year, okay? Y'all were off the chain. If it wasn't for our volunteers, I don't know how we wouldn't have made it through the week. So if you are a volunteer, if you can stand, I know we're gonna have a formal appreciation for you, but we're gonna start it off tonight at the Maine Youth Huddle because our volunteers were incredible. Thank you so much for all the work you did. You really helped us to get this done. So thank you so much. You stood, you were there, you were committed. We had many pivots and many twists and turns that were happening, and you all stayed, remained committed, remained calm. Most of you remained calm, but you stayed in it and you stuck by it. And no matter what, we all got through it. And at the end of the day, we were tired and exhausted, but we got through it together. And that's just the strength. It speaks to the strength of this organization and the future of this organization. So thank you so much for your commitment. And thank you for your sacrifice and being there with us. I do have just one quick update before I sit down. I know y'all are like, sit down, Damo. But I do have one update I wanted to give while I'm up here because it does just speak to some of the things that we've been doing. And this one particular case, Ervo Otieno, am I saying that? Otieno. There is an update on this case. An autopsy and toxicology reports in Ervo Otieno's death has been complete but is not released to the defense, according to the family. It's been confirmed that the aforementioned reports existed, but they were exempt from the Freedom of Information Act, under which 8 News filed a legal information request, and it was citing sections of the Code of Virginia regarding the confidentiality of certain information and records collected and maintained by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. So this comes after the OCME released Otieno's official cause and manner of death. Catch this. Positional and mechanical asphyxia with restraints, and the manner of death is homicide. It's homicide. So with that autopsy coming out, y'all, it's about to get crazy. But on average, they say that the autopsy reports typically take about 12 to 14 weeks before they're finalized, and so they're kind of moving their feet slowly in terms of trying to release that official report of homicide, but that's what it looks like that's what it's looking like. And so, civil rights attorneys that are representing the family said that they still don't have copies of the completed reports, but as soon as we have them, we'll know what the deal is. But it's looking like it's not looking good for them. I will just say that. We'll continue to provide updates on this case. As you know, Reverend Sharpton performed the eulogy, and we've been standing by the family, of course, in this case and in this time, and want to see justice at the end of the day happen. So we're going to be involved till the end, and even beyond that, as y'all know how Nan rolls. So I'll be back with y'all a little later. Want to turn it over to Giselle. Giselle did a wonderful job as well this week. Gino, stand up, Gino. These 2 young people did amazing jobs this week, holding down the young people at the convention and all day Saturday. I mean, I didn't see them one time not working. So y'all got to give it up. We have some dynamic youth in National Action Network, and I'm just grateful for y'all. So thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So now that we got through our informational good news, I would like to open the floor to anybody that has good news. The kids can come first. Come on.
I was at the first day of the convention. I was at the Keepers of the Dream Awards, and I got to meet Hill Harper and Martin Luther King III. I got really easy homework.
Hi, good day everybody, and God bless everybody. The highlight for me was that I was a volunteer at the convention for all 4 days, and the sister announced some of the highlights. But one of the highlights I wanted to share with you all that I experienced, and some of you experienced too, when you were at the gala. New York County District Attorney Alvin Bragg was there. And it was really good to see him there because he's dealing with a very stressful situation. But because he's a committed community member and a member of National Action Network, He maintained his focus and really maintained his commitment to the community and showed up. And I was really glad to see him. Thank you. God bless you all.
Hi, everybody. My name is Camilla. I do the praise dance, and they call me Soul Train. My good news for the week, or for now, right now, was that I was healthy enough and well enough to attend this wonderful convention 23. The highlights for me was from early on when we had the volunteer meeting, and they had made prayers that everything will work out. And it felt so spiritual this whole weekend that everything worked out so well, and I felt the spirit of our ancestors through the whole time of the convention, and I felt the energy of everyone being so happy and elated and proud of our people. So many successful Black people. In the volunteer room, I did a dance for everybody, and I felt the energy of our volunteers and the love and devotion. I was so impressed with the speakers, and I was so impressed with Dominique and Ashley's ability to be such a vital, powerful speaker and auditor, because as an academic advisor in my job, I always had to give workshops. And I know how challenging it is sometimes to give a presentation. So it was just excellent to see how polished they are at this point in their career and working with their father. And all praises to Reverend Al Sharpton. And that's my good news. The convention was awesome.
I wanted to thank Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, and I want to thank the huddle and all of the members, and Dominique and Ashley and Goldie and Patrice and everybody here, because I was so excited for the opportunity, being a huddle member, for being able to go to the night, because Ashley has said they had got tables and the huddle members could come with a guest. So I was so excited that me and my mother was able to go with Huddle to see Tyler Perry. And that was all thanks to Huddle and being a member here. So, I mean, Huddle is awesome. It's just awesome to be a part of Huddle. And it was so awesome to see all of the ladies dressed like princesses. And it was just wonderful. And then Patrice gave everyone an opportunity to volunteer. And like, I was able to escort board members and so forth up, and I was able to meet a lot of the famous people as a volunteer. So it was a really awesome experience. I had a terrific time. And again, thank you to Huddle and this organization, National Action Network.
What's up, y'all? My good news is, one thing I enjoyed, the fashion show, and yeah, because I was in it, and I modeled for Terrence Floyd right over there. And thanks for the hat, though. And I was a volunteer for the convention, so yeah, that's it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pamela Clark. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I'm with the Stop the Violence up in Buffalo, New York. And hello, Stop the Violence girls. The committee always talk about what we need to do to help our children. I think those young ladies need to go inside the schools and let them see that entertainment on stage. There's a lot of schools waiting on them that will help a lot of children turn them around. And we need you up in Buffalo, too. Also, I'm with the Citizen Action up there in Buffalo. We go to Albany. We're trying to bring people here, as Ashley asked, always bring someone with you. And we're ready to come aboard, and I am working with Mr. Arnold Penix on the play called Sylvia the Slave. And I have asked the organizations to come and join us so we can have fun, so we can take these plays into the schools and other children can join us also too. And I am a old-time member of the Volunteer Women for National Action Network, and I had to take off a few years because my mom has Alzheimer's dementia. So I will be back, and I'm always there every year sitting on that panel because I love everything they do. And they do help me because I do have some mental issues with losing my children, but I'm all good with God. All right?
I'm thankful to be here and for them to be inviting me here and doing all these performances. Thank my mom because she's the one who put all these pieces together.
Hello, everyone. Just want to say really, really quickly, thank you. I cannot thank the volunteers enough of 2023. I couldn't have asked for a better group of individuals, and as Dominique stated, we will definitely reach out to you. Reverend Sharpton wants to do something special for each and every one of you along with him. So I will reach out to you for that. But what's really touching for me, as far as the volunteer team this year, is that I just want to give a shout out to 4 different mothers who were there. You know, they are at an age where they should be in retirement and they could be at home and they didn't have to do it. But when I looked up every morning and I was in the lobby at 7-something in the morning and they were right there, hey Patrice, what do I need to do? Even found out that one of those mothers fell that morning and she was adamant about coming until she sat down and got it together and still made her way to the Sheridan. So especially volunteers, I love you and I appreciate you. But for these mothers, I just want to say a special shout out because it really touched me. It reminded me of my mother who always wanted to be at the convention. So the shout out to Mother Ruth Johnson, Mother Clark, Mother Chapman, and Mother Kennedy. Thank you for your dedication.
Good afternoon, everyone. I had to make it here because I joined last Saturday, and I'm going to tell you, I was blown away by the convention, my first time going to any NAN convention, and I am impressed. I am very thankful for Ashley, Dominique, Reverend Sharpton, Patrice, and everyone that put this event together. It was definitely inspiring. I am proud to be Black, and I am proud to see us advancing in the ways that we were advancing. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Good evening, everyone. I was watching television yesterday, and I'm here now with Sandra Brooklyn, and what came on the airway was 2 gentlemen there that was a guest. The great-grandson of Sally Hemings. Wow. Interesting. Also appearing with him was the great-grandson of Sally Hemings' brother. These 2 gentlemen had got together and dictate and about to produce what occurred because they just met recently. But what was most interesting about that was Sally Hemings and her brother were also half-sister and brother to Thomas Jefferson's wife. All 3 of them had the same father. This goes to heart of what the African American Historical Society was founded in 1915 in the Bronx chapter. They're having a meeting this Friday at Lincoln Hospital at 12 noon for the only state recognized holiday of Abolition Commemoration Day, the 2nd Monday in July, July 10th. But it also ties in with the African American Genealogical Historical Society, which traces your family and genetic history. Why? Because the White House, a couple weeks ago, is talking about reparations. The only sticking point of that was who was here in 1865 and who came after. And when I researched my family tree, my mother's side down to the state of North Carolina, to that tobacco field and cotton plantation. And when I looked to my father's side from the U.S. Virgin Islands, or that time, the United States didn't purchase until 1914. But at that time, the Virgin Islands was all sugar plantation. And if you ever studied the history of sugar plantation in this hemisphere, it had a very high mortality rate. And I'm gonna finish this up right quick. The good news of convention brings a coalition of organizations of how we're going to work together. We all came over here on different ships, but we all going to have the same objective: equity, equitable access to the resources that are here, because we were brought here for one reason only. And we're going to build this country, and the film's here for all of us. I thank you.
Hello, Nan. My name is Antoinette Thompson. This good news is for me that I would like to share. I haven't been on the subway in years, but I knew I had to get to this convention. Something in my spirit said, come to this convention. I enjoyed myself immensely. My family, my friends, they cannot get tired of me. I'm calling up everybody, telling what a wonderful time I had. They cannot believe I went up and down them subway steps for 3 days. But my legs are hurting, but I enjoyed myself. This was my first convention, but it will not be my last.
Thank you, everybody, for your good news. I'm gonna end it off with mine. I had a really good time at the convention. We appreciate all the volunteers, well, shall I say, our ambassadors. We appreciate all of y'all. I aced my panel. That was my first time being a moderator for a panel. I had fun. I was running a fashion show behind the scenes along with Patrice and David, and that was a great time as well. So we're gonna get into our Did You Know segments, because you may not have known. So we're gonna start off with Miss Ashley Sharpton. Clap it up for her, y'all.
Thank you. Does anybody know what just happened in Florida besides the book ban? No. Nobody? Has to do with reproductive rights? Word? Can you just say it louder so people that stream it can hear you, please? Everyone heard her? Okay. All right. So this is about the abortion ban in Florida that was recently signed by DeSantis. It's short. It's a little controversial because some people have spiritual beliefs and religious beliefs, of course, but this is what's going on the front line. Our NAN Florida chapters are directly involved. NAN Tallahassee is directly involved on the ground, so we wanted to share what's going on here, of course, to make you all aware. But they're banning books, they're banning Black history, now they're banning abortion. So what else are they going to ban in Florida? What else are they going to take away from you? Don't wait till they take away what affects you. You have to make sure you stand up for everybody. All right, so first of all, young people, this is a sensitive topic. Do you know what abortion means? No. Kaylee.
It means so basically, this was on the news too. When you're like pregnant, they take a tool and they dig inside of you and take out the baby.
You got technical. I didn't know you was gonna go technical. Yeah, okay. Anybody else want to try a little less graphic answer? Nobody? An adult? Does an adult want to give it a safer answer? What is abortion? For a child to understand? Appropriately? Thank you, Kayla, though. At least you understand.
Yes, and she did, and you did a great job. And so abortion is a procedure that is strenuous and can impact a lot of trauma for several reasons. If you're forced because you're a youth and you're trying to hide it, if you don't seek the appropriate medical condition to get a diagnosis appropriately to find out how far you are, when you go for a procedure, they can, if you're not sure of your total medical history, they can give you the wrong sedatives that can cause side effects. But conditionally, what it does is it removes the fetus from the uterus.
Thank you. All right, she gave a few reasons of why you would get an abortion, but she gave, at the end, you gave the general answer of what abortion is. One time, Rosie.
I'm just taking a guess. It's probably segregation or racism.
Okay, that was a good guess. That was a good try. Okay, so abortion is, according to Webster's dictionary, the deliberate termination of a human pregnancy. That simple enough for everyone? Yeah. Abortion is the deliberate means to do it on purpose, right? So to deliberately terminate a human pregnancy. So if someone is pregnant and they deliberately do it on purpose to take it away, that's an abortion. Now we can go from legal to illegal. That's a whole nother story. Yes, come. Now the fight, when you get older, to understand the fight is some people feel that all babies should have the right to be born, right? So they feel the government should not take it away. It's not the government's business if you want to choose to have a baby or not. What happened in Florida, they took the choice away, and they basically said abortion is illegal. So regardless of what happens, and that's what Gina was trying to give, she was saying in some circumstances, you might not want to have your child. In Florida, you don't get a choice to choose, because now abortion has been banned. So I want y'all to understand, it might be too complicated right now, but I want you to understand what we're talking about, because it can impact you in the future.
Yeah, this is one reason I came up, because for the most part, it is by voluntary consent. This is a request that the pregnant woman can make. Some women put it under the title of reproductive health, because there's some situations where a woman's health is at risk if the pregnancy is continued. So some women choose to have that procedure with the hope of having children later on when the woman is able to be healthier to have a child. So it's very important for that to really be clarified, that it's allegedly supposed to be upon request. And they go to a professional medical person who is highly skilled in the procedure. So the controversy with Florida is they want to tell women what to do with their bodies, and women are really not having that, who really want to have a choice in every area of their life, including reproductive rights. So that's what it's really about.
Thank you, Word. Come on, Mother Kennedy. I'm going to start reading while you head up here. Okay. 2 black women in Florida have called out the state for denying them medical care in the wake of Governor Ron DeSantis signing a 6-week abortion ban into law on Thursday. That's what Word was briefly talking about. 2 people wanted help, and they were denied help. MSNBC's Katie Fang spoke with Floridians Anya Cook and Shanae Smith Cunningham on Saturday, the former of whom described feeling like she was going to die while pregnant last year. The 6-week ban could go into effect if the state's current 15-week ban on abortions is upheld in a legal challenge in the Florida Supreme Court. So right now, it's a 6-week ban. Then it can become a 15-week ban, and then they can push it to make it permanent. Okay? Bless you. You're killing us, Cook said in a message to Florida lawmakers. Cook and Smith Cunningham, who are friends and were both pregnant in December, described their heartbreaking stories of suffering miscarriages in the Washington Post last week. Cook and Smith Cunningham were denied care in December due to Florida's 15-week abortion ban when they were 16 and 19 weeks pregnant. Cook experienced hemorrhaging and lost half of her body's blood in an operating room following the miscarriage. The 2 experienced a condition known as preterm pre-labor rupture of the membranes, or when a pregnant person's water breaks prior to viability. So she broke early. The 15-week ban, which went into effect last year, has an exception for fatal fetal anomaly, although this doesn't apply to those with PPROM, as the lady I just mentioned. The stricter ban does not appear to include an exception for those experiencing PPROM either. Cook recalled to Fang the moment a doctor told her they couldn't do anything for her after her water broke, and she stayed in the hospital's waiting room for an hour. So basically, I have to go home and wait it out, and he's like, unfortunately, dear, I'm sorry. You're sorry for what? That I'm now going to have to deliver my daughter, who will not be alive when she's born. She later reflected on having the baby at a hair salon. I ended up going there because I said if I was going to die, my mother wouldn't have to do my hair. That's crazy. Florida State Senator Chevron Jones, who also joined Fang's program on Saturday, issued a frightening warning that Florida's government is overreaching. When you look at what just happened with Anya and Shanae, what we're noticing is that that's the reality. Black women are going to die. The U.S. is the only developed country with a rising maternal mortality rate. I'll say that again. The U.S. is the only developed country with a rising maternal mortality rate, and black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die than white ones. So that's a problem for me. I don't know who attended the Reproductive Rights Forum mixer that Planned Parenthood had during convention. It was an important conversation, but people are not understanding how critical and crucial this issue is. This is impacting black maternal health, which means our black moms, which means those who can have children will be impacted, which means that we will continue to, our rate, we're already like the minorities. So how many more of us will die? And then how many more of us are risking your lives by trying to reproduce and have children? It shouldn't be a health risk to have a child just because you want to take away people's laws and people's rights to choose. That's just my personal opinion, but I also feel like what's happening in Florida is political. I don't think they care about their health. I don't think they care about the babies. I don't think they care about the women. I think this is all a political stunt from DeSantis, and they're trying to basically rile their base just like Trump did. He used it to rile his base and used all of the racial and all the turmoil he can use, and dog whistles he could use to basically stir his base and win an election. Now they see that Trump has lost it. Now DeSantis is the next one in, and the more racist and the more conservative he can be, they will elect him in Florida. So I feel like I know we must do what we need to do. Our family in Florida, we need to be aware. We need to get them voting. We need to get them understanding what's going on. This is crucial. And I know you all may not feel like it's impacting, or we may not feel it's impacting, but if they're doing it in Florida, make sure, definitely know this coming up. Don't get confused. Our civil rights are on the line right now. This is worse. I don't know if y'all heard the panel's people. I forgot which panel they said it, but they said basically our education system and our financial system is worse than it was in the 60s. That's crazy. So we should be alarmed. And it's great that we're here huddled up. It's so great to see so many people here. But now we have to take the actionable items and take action together and do more. It doesn't matter if it's in Florida, New York, Alabama, California. We're a National Action Network, so we need to take action. Let's pay attention, and let's join our Name Tallahassee chapter with action. Mother Kennedy?
Good evening, Huddle. Listen, I got news for you. Y'all better realize, as I always say, you better wake up and smell the coffee. Because they came for them in the morning, they'll be for us at night. And it is of the utmost importance that you realize that abortion has always been available to the rich. Didn't make a difference what color you were. If you were rich and you had the money, you could get an abortion. It only started happening, abortion only started becoming an issue when it started affecting us. And when I say us, I'm talking about us as black women of color. How many times has it been, do they know, or do they even care about the next mouth to feed? How many times have there been families that had to make a decision whether to have the child or feed the family that was already here? These are things to think about, and it is of the utmost importance. I don't care what your religious beliefs are, because one thing about National Action Network, we are a faith-based civil rights organization. So whether you be Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Ethiopian Christian, whatever, it is of the utmost importance. You're here in these United States. You have rights in these United States. Our people were brought here in 1619, and here we are in the present day. So how you feel about abortion, personally, that's up to you. But it's still a woman's right to choose what happens with her body. And I will be on this fight as long as I have breath. I'm 84 years old now, and I'm fired up, I'm angry, ain't gonna take it anymore, here to the end.
Thank you, Mother Kennedy. I'm happy to see men up here with the call.
Hello, my name is Bruce, and about a month ago on TV, this woman and her husband, she was pregnant, and I forget what state, it wasn't Florida, but another state, and they knew that once she gave birth, that baby would not survive more than a minute or two. She couldn't get an abortion in the state she lived in. I'm not sure if she went out of state. I didn't hear. This was while she was still pregnant. And also, Senator Tim Scott, Republican, who's running for president, I saw a part of an interview, I think the past week, and he basically, I think he was like either a representative of CNN or MSNBC, asking him questions. He basically came down to it. If he was president, he doesn't care if it became a nationwide ban on abortion. Because it's I have an aunt, obviously passed away. She was living in Israel. My father's brother married her because they were from Poland. So he was there. So he went to fight in the 1948 war. And I was told this, not by her or him, when they moved to America in the 60s, maybe my father. She was so afraid of her husband dying in the war, she got an abortion. It wasn't, I guess, illegal because she went, I was told, to an illegal thing. She could never give birth again. So, there's so many ramifications. Obviously, I don't know what anybody else, any woman goes through, but nobody has a right to tell anybody how to live their lives on any issue. It's all part of the thing, that's going around, but there's one good news. This weekend, a few days, I had news blackout, and I felt good, played with my granddaughter, or about your ages, and then this morning, I turned on MSNBC, Reverend Al was there, and they mentioned the 16th birthday shooting, which the first time I heard. First time I heard about the mass shooting with the 16-year-old's birthday, Sweet 16. Then a few hours later, I heard on TV again about what you mentioned about the 16-year-old knocking on the door. And I felt like, oh, I'm tired of this. But the problem is, the good thing, not about that, is that like you 8-year-olds, the one thing I know is that when there are problems, they don't last forever, no matter how horrific. We're on like a seesaw, right? Whether it's civil rights, whether it's violence, this period will end. I'm sure. I was born in 1949, so I was around. I was too young to. Joe McCarthy went away, and I'm sure people who were older in the 50s than I was probably thinking, "What's going on?" Problems will go away. Your generation is not going to have the same problems. I guarantee it. As I told you, what I'm working on, we are going to change the world. This generation.
Thank you. Thank you for always bringing us inspiration and hope, Bruce. And he touched on an interesting part that wasn't mentioned earlier about illegal abortions. If abortions are not available, if they're illegal, basically they'll get unhealthy abortions. And that's also dangerous, extremely dangerous. People use hangers and all of that, and it's crazy. Okay, here you go.
I just need to say one thing. I've been with the National Action and the Activists. I'm a fundraiser. I made this outfit ever since I've been with them. And I am going to be giving some away to special people. I'm going to make them free.
Okay, thank you, Queen. I will say, if we're on topic, we want us to stay with questions, and we can save statements and good news for that section. Love you, because I know you're from out of town, so we're going to let you slide. Mr. Yu.
Okay, so as I'm listening to this, the first thing comes to mind is a part of the Declaration of Independence, that we are empowered or endued with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it seems like DeSantis, among others, forgot about that part. That's the first thing. Second thing is, they consider being pro-life. Right? No, we gotta keep all humans alive. You gotta everybody born. And then as soon as we're born, they don't give a crap about us. They do all these things to kill us off, block us off, use us, and all of that stuff. So everything that they're doing around us is stupid and punk-like. They're punks. They're scared of us. So they want to do stuff to keep us from putting them in place. If we play basketball, football, baseball, everything is straight on the court. You got umpires and referees, and everything's out in the open. These guys want to hide and play punk. It's just annoying me. They're just punks. I wish we could figure out a way to get rid of them or wake them up. So that's what I'm going to say. That's like.
Thank you. We can. We got to vote them out. Let's go. Last comment, Gino. Make it good.
Alright, so this is messed up, but for everybody that, I don't know, but if you know people who lives in Florida, or if you live in Florida, I feel like, well, what we should do is go out there and march for the abortion so women could feel free to, if they want to get pregnant, they want to do that. That's their life. But at the end of the day, that's what they want to do. So, yeah.
All right, for some action. We ended on an action note. If you see this on the news, like Bruce said, if you see it, pay attention, listen to what they're saying. We also know when the news is giving us nonsense, so pay attention to that too, and pay attention to the smoke and mirrors. But also make sure you pay attention to Rev's keynote on Saturday. He's going to be breaking all of these issues down on Saturday and giving us the actionable items. We just wanted to make sure that you're paying attention so that when you're listening, you know exactly what he's talking about. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. So for the second Did You Know, it's going to be presented by yours truly. I heard a lot of people talking about this in here, so we're going to give y'all the story. So, accused shooter in Kansas City shooting a black teen who went to the wrong house is white man in his 80s. A white man in his 80s is the individual who apparently shot and seriously wounded Ralph Yall, a black teen, on April 13th in Kansas City, Missouri. According to a CNN review of property records, police statements, and detention records, CNN is not naming the man at this time, given he has not been charged. Two representatives at the Kansas City Police Department Detention Unit read the man's booking information to CNN over the phone. They confirmed the man who was booked on an investigation hold was a white man in his 80s, and his home address matches the address where the shooting took place. The representatives also noted he was taken into custody on April 13th, just before midnight, and was released less than 2 hours later at 1:24 a.m. on April 14th. Property records and a neighbor who spoke to CNN confirmed the man and his wife are the homeowners living at the shooting location. Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves said on the Sunday news conference, a homeowner was placed on a 24-hour investigation hold following the shooting. After consulting with the Clay County Prosecutor's Office, the homeowner was released pending further investigation. Police also said that they have to interview the victim and collect other forensics. CNN has not been able to reach the man for comment at this time. A lawyer was not listed in the booking report. CNN has requested the booking report and mugshot for the accused shooter, in addition to the incident report, but has not yet received it from the Kansas City Police Department. Officers responded to home on April 13th, just before 10 p.m., after receiving reports of a shooting. When they arrived, they found Ralph, 16, who had been shot outside the residence by the homeowner. Ralph was shot twice and struck in the head and arm. His family's attorney said in a statement. The neighbors CNN spoke with said they did not hear the shooting because they were asleep.
but did say once awake, we came outside. The victim was laying in the street surrounded by a few of our neighbors. Ralph was released from the hospital on Sunday, according to a report from the Kansas City Star, citing an interview with the teen's father. He continues to improve. He's responsive and he's making good progress, Paul Yarl told the newspaper. After spending 3 nights in the hospital, Ralph is recovering at home, being cared for by his mother, who is a nurse, the newspaper reported. Family attorney Ben Crump claimed the shooting was a racial profiling incident in an interview with CNN's John Berman. We have been informed by his family that it was a white man who shot their 16-year-old son, Crump said, explaining that he believes the teen was shot because he is black. It is inescapable not to observe the racial dynamics here, said Crump. If the roles were reversed, he continued, how much outrage would there be in America? At a weekend rally, community and family members marched to and demonstrated in front of the man's house, calling for charges to be filed. Protesters marched as they chanted, "Justice for Ralph" and "Black Lives Matter," and carried signs reading, "Ringing a doorbell is not a crime," and "The shooter should do the time." Footage from CNN affiliate KNBC shows the teen's father said, "We want charges, that's what we want." Police learned the teenager's parents had asked him to pick up his siblings at an address on 115th Terrace, but he accidentally went to a home on 115th Street where he was shot. Lawyers for Ralph's family also say the youth was shot after he went to the wrong house. Ralph Yarl was picking up his younger brothers when he mistakenly rang the doorbell at the wrong house. A man shot Ralph twice, and now he's in critical condition. His family needs support during this tragedy, Crump tweeted. Attorneys for the wounded youth's family issued a statement demanding swift action from Clay County prosecutors and law enforcement to identify, arrest, and prosecute to the full extent of the law the man responsible for this horrendous and unjustifiable shooting. In a Monday interview with CNN, Crump said the shooting harkens back to Trayvon Martin and Ahmaud Arbery and so many of these other tragedies where you had citizens profile and shoot our black children and the police didn't let them go home and sleep in their beds at night. Unacceptable. Asked whether the shooting may have been racially motivated, the police chief said, "The information that we have now, it does not say that it is racially motivated. That's still an active investigation. But as a chief of police, I do recognize the racial components of this case." So that concludes my Did You Know? But I have an important question for y'all, because y'all say y'all as angry as y'all can be. So the question is, what are some actions or some ways we can help prosecute the suspect? We can help the victim's family to prosecute the suspect. Anybody want to come up? I thought y'all was angry. What happened to that? Are we not angry here? Okay. I'm going to give y'all some time to think about it. Sister Word?
Yeah, it's a long article, but there's some questions I have that I didn't hear. You may have said it or maybe not. When this man shot the teenager, was it through the door or he opened the door and shot him? What? He opened through the glass? So basically, just based on that allegation, which I'm going to call allegation, he just looked through the door and saw this black teenager and just shot him? Okay, that's enough to prosecute, because he didn't really, that's enough. He didn't get details. You know, that's it. So Attorney Crump is going to do his job, and anybody else who's in that state, they're demonstrating no justice, no peace, for real, for real. But the allegation is, now I have another question, please excuse me. So where is this person who shot the teenager? Is he arrested?
He's not arrested. He's not arrested. He went back to his own. He hasn't been arrested yet. Yes.
All right, so before we can get to any prosecution, the person has to be arrested. So the pressure should be on the police officers or sheriffs or whomever is the law enforcement in the area. So you don't really demonstrate for that person to be prosecuted. The person's not arrested yet. So if any demonstration is going to occur, it has to be with the law enforcement people to do their job. That's what they're supposed to be doing first. Thank you.
Right. The name of the guy? So his name has not been given to, well, the victim is Ralph Yall. The suspect who shot him, his name has not been given and no arrests have been made. I want y'all to keep that in mind.
I remember they had showed us this delivery guy. He was a black delivery guy. He was trying to make a delivery at this apartment complex, and one of the white neighbors of the building was like, well, give it to me and I'll deliver it. And he was like, no, I'm supposed to deliver it. And she was blocking the door. And she was just doing that because she felt unsafe because of his color. So it's just so crazy because I just recently saw a movie where a white man had broken into this white woman's house, and she was noticing her door was ajar. She goes in, and then she sees the white man comes out of the closet, and she just stands there like she's looking for him to have a conversation with her to explain to him why he's in the house. And we all know that if she saw a black man, she would scream in terror. So it's just amazing, even if you see in the movies how the dynamics are of how the fear is based on the color of the person. So, you know, we have this senior, he's an 80-year-old in his house, and he sees this black man who rings the doorbell. Like, what's going on? He's ringing the doorbell. Like, it makes no sense at all, but it's still, when you look at the movies, I'm just telling you, just recently look at the movie, this white guy, he comes out of the closet, and the white woman just looks at him. She's not afraid at all. She's like, oh, this is a white man, he's not gonna hurt me. You know, it's still that, you know, the fear is on the African-American male. Oh my God, he's gonna kill me. No matter how old he is, he's gonna do something bad to me. And that's where we would have to see, how can we change that narrative, you know? Because we have, that is a big narrative that continues on, that the fear, even if the guy is in a suit, even if he's in a suit.
So that's it? I'm sorry, Mo.
So it's an update on this case. He's been charged with 2 felonies. His name is Andrew Lester, right? So. And thank you. And I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read the exact charges, because one of the questions was, a lot of people were asking, could it be deemed a hate crime? Could they place a hate crime charge? And the fact that only reason, I mean, we know, you know, he shot through a glass, and the kid never even knocked on the door, he never tried to get in, he was on the property, but he never tried to initiate any type of contact or anything. Clearly it shows that, because he shot somebody through a glass. So one of the charges is assault, and assault in the first, and reckless, you see the other one? I'm sorry. Assault, and, well, it's definitely assault on the charge, it's assault, and I'm not sure if Kansas City has a stand your ground law, which is probably why he's charged, because if that was like in Florida or something, that guy would have got off scot-free. They would have figured, if that was like Florida or Texas or, you know, one of Georgia, even Alabama, Mississippi, anything below the Mason-Dixon line, we already know how that would have played out. That's why they charged him. So And this is just and as far as the hate crime, like, we know, it was a racist, because they feel like there was a race, tension in there. He's seen a black guy's 84 years old, so you already know what type of time he's on. He's still stuck in that era. You know what I'm saying? So we already know, and right, so him doing that, I hope that these charges, his name is Andrew Lester, so you can look it up for yourself and see. So, assault in the first degree and armed criminal action. And those are serious felonies. The hate crime would have been a lesser felony. 85. So 85-year-old white man. He must have had a birthday, because they said 84 the other day. So it just shows, in states like that, Kansas may not be the deep south, it's considered the west, but we've always heard about places like Kansas and Oklahoma. They get down. Of course, Oklahoma know about Juneteenth and stuff like that. So, like they always say, it sounds cliche, but it's true. We still have a long way to go. I heard somebody say earlier about us, our generation, and the generation of us, who fortunately we will not experience what you guys have experienced in like the 60s and the 50s. Even those crazy things still happen to us. At least, like German Shepherds is not biting us on the leg. We're not getting fire hoses sprayed on us. So we've come from something, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to encourage our generation. It's a lot of crazy stuff that still goes on, but if you do your history back then, you'll see we've come a long way. We've made some ground. So we just need to continue to make more ground and cover more ground. And it's not to change the minds. We can't change the minds of any racist person, even if the racism comes from a black person or whatever. People have their anger, and, as you always want to remember, this stuff was taught. Racism is taught. No matter how old that 84-year-old man, 85-year-old man, his parents, his grandparents taught him racism, that we're the bad color, and we're dirty and filthy, and he went through his whole life feeling that, and he's seen a chance to get some get back for all his ancestors and whatever he was taught. He probably did this before and got away with it in his younger years, who knows, but we still have a long way to go, and let this fuel our anger to come up with ideas. If we just sit down and really come up with, there's real maneuvers and plans, with gun laws and stuff like that. Because, it's going to take for those NRA people or those people that really don't want to change the gun laws, it seems like it's going to take for something to happen to one of their loved ones to make any type of change. They don't want to change anything, so it seems like maybe one of their children, God forbid, may have to get shot in a school or something like that for them to realize what we go through and what we deal with. Sometimes that's the best way of making, the universe has a way of making people understand where other people are coming from. So, you leave it to the universe and they'll handle what needs to be handled. But we just need to continue to be proactive with these stories. You can have your mic back.
Wow. Well, I think Mo said everything that needed to be said, right? Clap it up for Mo, y'all. Thank you for that. So we're going to get to our third Did You Know? I would like to invite up Miss Patrice. Clap it up for Patrice, y'all. And last one.
Hello, Huddle family. So this one is more informational. It's called The State of Black America and the Urban League Report. From legislative chambers to schools, democracy for Black Americans is under attack, reports find. Extreme views adopted by some local, state, and federal political leaders who try to limit what history can be taught in schools and seek to undermine how Black officials perform their jobs are among the top threats to democracy for Black Americans, according to the National Urban League. Mark Marial, the former New Orleans mayor who leads the civil rights group and urban advocacy organization, cited the most recent example, the vote of this month by the Republican-controlled Tennessee House to oust 2 Black representatives for violating a legislative rule. The pair had participated in the gun control protests inside the chamber after the shooting that killed 3 students and 3 staff members at a Nashville school. We have censorship and Black history suppression And now this, Muriel said in the interview. It's another piece of fruit of the same poisonous tree, the effort to suppress and contain. 40% of voters in last year's elections said their local K-12 public schools were not teaching enough about racism in the United States, while 34% said it already was too much, according to the AP VoteCast, an expansive survey of the American electorate. Violence is one of the major areas of concern covered in the Urban League report, especially in light of the 2022 mass shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. The accused shooter left a manifesto raising the Great Replacement Theory. Yeah, remember that, right? As a motive in his killings. Data released this year by the FBI indicated that hate crimes rose between 2020 and 2021. African Americans were disproportionately represented, accounting for 30% of the incidents in which the bias was known. By comparison, the second largest racial group targeted in the single incident category was white victims, who made up 10%. We will suppress your books. We will suppress the conversation about race and racism. And we will suppress your history. Your AP course, Muriel said, it is singular in its effort to suppress blacks. And that is the state of Black America from the Urban League. We have to stay conscious. We're not going to take any questions. That's more informative, but I'm sure that we will, it's a did you know? So when I come back next week, I'll find did you really know what else is going on as the state of Black America. Thank you. That wraps up my did you know.
Thank you, Patrice, for our last Did You Know? So now, I would like to close us out in prayer. Y'all know my prayers be short, so everybody bow your heads, please. Thank God for everybody getting here safely. I hope everybody have a safe trip back home. Please say please and thank you when you get your food. Amen.
Hello, guys. I just want to say, I didn't say it earlier because I just wanted to hear everybody else's responses, but I just want you to clap yourselves up one more time for the National Network 2023 convention. It was I'd say over 8,000 people attended from what we got so far with the database, but we'll wait to get the full numbers, but over 8,000 people attended. There was no issues of violence. There was no issues of safety issues. Everything went well. The vice president came into Midtown and nothing bad happened. It was during the same time as the NRA convention. A lot of craziness is happening, a lot of racial violence, and nothing bad happened. So I just want to thank everybody, from our NAN ambassadors to our staff, to our leader, Reverend Al Sharpton. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for trusting us, but also giving us the space. And people don't understand that the convention, he allows people to submit their ideas. He allows staff, he allows the chapter leaders to submit their ideas. And once they're approved, he lets us get who we want to get and put them on the panel, make up the questions and engage them. I want to say personally, and I know a lot of y'all don't know about it, but last year was a transition for the NAN Youth and College Department. NAN Youth and College Department was under the leadership of Tyleek McMillan. Tyleek McMillan resigned and took another job because he, for other reasons, there's no bad blood or anything like that. He just went on to another job, and we're still family to this day. We love Tyleek, but it was a transition for us, and I'm just being completely transparent. I am 35 years old. I am not a youth. So it was NAN Youth Huddle, and it was literally thrown into our laps. We had Falivi Dosa and Usman Diallo and Malaysia Freeman, and the three of them picked up a ball, and they are also in college. And I don't know if you all guys understand, when you're in college, there's a lot of distractions. You're from New York City, you move to Atlanta and Albany, you want to live your life too, you want to have fun. but they took on the task and they took on the responsibility and they were accountable for their actions. Malaysia did not continue with us, but Felipe Dosa and Ousmane Diallo did. And I'm not the easiest person to work with. I'll tell you that now. I'm busy, I'm testy, and there's a lot going on, and we wear a lot of hats in there. So it was hard for me to adjust, honestly, and I'm being completely honest. It was hard for me to adjust to take on the full responsibility of the NAN Youth and College Director because I could not just throw that on Felipe Dosa because he was not used to that. But I just wanted to salute Felipe Dosa and Ousmane Diallo and the NAN Youth Huddle advisors, because without them, I couldn't do my job, and that's Patrice Perry and Dominique Sharpton. We took on the brunt for the young people that left, and we took on the brunt because they were not here. And NAN Youth and College Day, I feel, was a great success. I just want to salute for the gun violence panel. For me, that was one of my favorite panels, not because the issue of violence is sexy, but because it's something that's been important to us since we started as far as Huddle. And it was important for me to see people, to convene about a conversation, not just about gun violence, but domestic violence, but racial violence, police violence. Emerald Garner was on the panel. Her first panel, well, not her first panel convention, but she represented on Youth and College Day. Angelino Rosado, I don't know if y'all talked about it earlier, but the young man that got shot, 19-year-old Jalen Davis, that was her cousin. And she came to the panel 2 days after her cousin got shot and still spoke on that panel, and then shared the action for it, and then they stood out here on Saturday. So we want to continue to stand with Angelino Rosado because her family needs us. And she came to convention and put her heart aside and came to talk about why we need to stop the senseless violence. Monet Smith is from Huddle. She was on the panel. Kevin Livingston and Aisha Sekou started with us. A lot of y'all did not start with us 9 years ago, but they were the ones who started with us right here in this room. And now they both are expanding to have like 5 offices, and they started right here in this room, and they wouldn't have that without us. So I want to salute them. Carolyn Cuffey, who was Darius Lee's aunt. Do y'all remember Darius Lee, who was shot on the east side? They're doing the work. Darius Lee's Foundation, y'all should know them because you should be supporting them because they're outside fighting community violence. It's important. Antonio Craig from DC was there, and Patrice and Giselle, our own Patrice, our advisor, and Giselle moderated that panel. It was a very, very important panel. You should go on nationalnetwork.net or NAN's YouTube or Facebook and watch it. We also had the social media for social justice panel that Ousmane did. I'm not going to name everybody, but I just think it's important for you to know this is NAN Youth Huddle night. So you need to know what the NAN Youth and College did at the convention so you understand. I want your critiques. I want what you liked and what you didn't like. I want to hear what you feel as young people were not there. If your young people were not there, or the young people were there for artivism, but they were not there during the day. So what can we do during the day to make sure that your young people come out the whole day? That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to get feedback to. And if you can send it on the website, they might not get it for the website, but if you send it to nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com, I will look at what you write for NAN Youth and College Day. Now, do not write to me and say you did not meet Tyler Perry, because I cannot help you with that. But I can help you with creating a better Youth and College Day and a stronger Youth and College Day and a more impactful one for next year. If we want to do a summit in between times, if we don't want to wait till April of next year, we want to do something for our young people in the summer or something in the winter, all of those ideas need to come forth. Everybody is here now. This is not like this every Monday. So that's why I stopped Giselle before we went to dinner to talk to y'all, because I want to engage y'all. I want y'all to continue to come, and I want you to bring young people. I want to see more younger faces. I love to see y'all beautiful little faces, and y'all are amazing. Y'all energy is off the charts, but I want to keep y'all focused. I want y'all to keep coming back, okay? Thomas comes across the street when we post. So I love to see Thomas, but we need more people here for the whole time that are focused and ready. We love Thomas. My point was Thomas is a huddler, but we need more young people in here. Kaylee is a leader. Alyssa's a leader. Rosie's a leader. So we need some people to follow them. All right? All right. So I want y'all to send me nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. If you do not have email, some of us do not have Wi-Fi. You can come and leave a note at the front desk with Mo, Mr. Arthur, or you can just write to Ashley or NAN Youth Huddle. Just suggestions for what you want for next year. All right? And whatever you like, I want you to say, keep that. That was great. Erase that. Or we want to hear from this person or that person. All right? Thank you. Love y'all. Make sure y'all support. Look at the panels. The panels are up. The only things that are not up are the ticketed events, which is Keepers of the Dream, Women's Luncheon, and Ministers Luncheon. Everything else is up and welcome for you to listen to and watch. All right? Love y'all. Oh, wait. Say two wants a group shot. Say two wants a group shot. Say two does the media. You will be in a paper if you